Have you ever had that feeling? That prickle on the back of your neck that tells you something is deeply, fundamentally wrong? I'm not talking about leaving the oven on or forgetting to lock your door. I'm talking about a moment when reality itself seems to warp just for a second. For one woman, that feeling became a terrifying, hours-long ordeal inside an elevator that seemed to have a mind of its own. This story, which spread like wildfire across online forums, begins innocently enough. A woman, let's call her Chloe, was heading home after a late shift. She worked in a relatively new, sleek office building downtown, one of those glass and steel towers that scrape the sky. It was after midnight, and the building was dead silent. The usual hum of office life had been replaced by an eerie quiet, broken only by the soft chime of the elevator she was waiting for. She lived in an apartment on the 9th floor of a connected residential tower. You know the setup. One of those mixed-use buildings where you can live, work, and shop without ever stepping outside. Convenient, right? Usually. But not tonight. Tonight, that convenience would become a trap. Chloe stepped into the empty elevator, the polished steel doors sliding shut behind her with a soft whoosh. The mirrored walls reflected her tired face back at her. She pressed the button for the 9th floor, her destination, her home. The elevator began its smooth ascent. First floor, second, third, the familiar lighted numbers climbing steadily. She leaned back against the wall, scrolling through her phone, half listening to the gentle music piping through the speakers. Everything was normal. But then, as the elevator passed the 8th floor, a strange impulse took over. She described it as a thought that wasn't her own, a sudden, inexplicable urge. Her finger moved, almost as if guided by an unseen hand, and pressed the button for the 10th floor. Now, here's the crucial detail. Her building only had 9 floors. The button for the 10th floor shouldn't have been there. In fact, she'd ridden this elevator hundreds of times and had never even noticed it before. But there it was, glowing with a soft amber light. A shiver went down her spine. Was she that tired? Was she hallucinating? She tried to dismiss it, telling herself it was just a maintenance floor, or maybe a button for a future expansion that was mistakenly active. The elevator, however, didn't seem confused. It glided past the 9th floor without stopping, continuing its ascent. The number 10 lit up on the display panel, and with a gentle chime, the doors slid open. Chloe froze. The sight before her was not a maintenance area, it was a hallway, but it was unlike any other hallway in the building. The carpet, usually a muted corporate gray, was a deep, unsettling shade of red. The wallpaper had a strange, swirling pattern that seemed to play tricks on her eyes, almost like it was moving. The air that drifted into the elevator was stale and smelled faintly of dust and something else. Something chemical, almost like old-fashioned film developer. The lighting was wrong, too. It was dim, flickering, cast by old, buzzing fluorescent tubes that you'd expect to find in a basement, not a luxury high-rise. There were no apartment numbers on the doors, just blank, dark wood. Hesitantly, she took a half step out, peering down the corridor. It stretched into darkness, longer than any hallway in the building should be. There were no windows, no signs, no sounds, just this silent, red, flickering corridor. Every instinct in her body screamed at her to get back in the elevator. She quickly stepped back, her heart pounding against her ribs. She frantically jabbed the door close button. For a heart-stopping second, nothing happened. The doors remained open, offering a view into that impossible place. Then, slowly, agonizingly, they began to close, shutting out the red hallway. Breathing a sigh of relief, she immediately pressed the button for the 9th floor again. The elevator didn't move. She pressed it again, and again. Nothing. She tried the lobby button, the emergency button, every button on the panel. The elevator was dead. The lights inside were on, the soft music was still playing, but it was completely unresponsive. The display above the door was frozen on the number 10. She was trapped. She pulled out her phone. No signal. Of course. The emergency phone in the elevator panel? She picked it up. Dead silence. No dial tone, no hiss of static, just nothing. Panic, cold and sharp, began to set in. She was stuck between floors, or rather, stuck at you a floor that didn't exist. She tried shouting, banging on the doors. The sound was flat, absorbed by the enclosed space. It felt like screaming into a vacuum. Hours passed. She slid down to the floor, her legs shaking. The initial adrenaline gave way to a creeping dread. Was this a prank? A bizarre malfunction? Or something else? She kept staring at the closed doors, terrified they would open again on their own, revealing that silent red hallway. Her mind started playing tricks on her. She thought she heard faint whispers from the other side, the sound of shuffling feet. Just when she felt she was about to lose her mind, just as the sun would have been rising outside, she heard a sound. Not from the hallway, but from the elevator shaft. A clank. A whir. Suddenly, the elevator jolted downwards. She scrambled to her feet as it descended rapidly, not stopping at any floor. It went all the way down to the lobby. With a final, gentle chime, the doors slid open. The bright, clean, familiar lobby stretched out before her. A security guard was doing his morning rounds, looking at her with mild surprise. To him, it was just another resident coming home late or leaving early. He had no idea she had just spent hours in a personal twilight zone. Shaking, Chloe stumbled out of the elevator. She didn't say a word to the guard. What could she say? "Excuse me, I just visited a secret, terrifying 10th floor that doesn't exist." She went straight to a different elevator bank, her hand trembling as she pressed the button for her floor, the 9th. This time it took her right there. The next day, she reported the incident to building management. They were polite but skeptical. They checked the elevator's maintenance logs. It had registered a single uninterrupted trip from the lobby to the 9th floor the previous night. There was no record of a stop at a 10th floor. There was no record of it stalling for hours. They even took her to the elevator. She looked at the control panel. The button for the 10th floor was gone. It was just a blank, smooth metal plate, as if it had never been there at all. Was it a shared dream? A glitch in the matrix? Or did Chloe stumble into a place she was never meant to see? A hidden layer of reality tucked away inside a modern skyscraper. She never took that elevator again, and to this day, the story of the elevator that goes nowhere serves as a chilling reminder that sometimes the most terrifying places aren't in some dark forest or abandoned house. Sometimes they're just one wrong button press away. What do you think happened? Let me know your theories down in the comments. It's a strange world out there, isn't it? Thanks for hanging out with me. If you enjoyed this story, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more dives into the unexplained. Stay safe, and maybe take the stairs.